thank you to everybody for posting this. It's interesting. A small church in Edinburgh, or large church, I'm not really sure the size, but it's going out and the videos reaching people. I don't know who all the people are. I guess it's a good thing. So what I'm trying to do in this type of a teaching is give everybody some kind of a nugget that you can experience, take home with you. And oh, hey, it's February 1st. What's February 1st mean for most people? Valentine's Day, right? And Bolts of Love Church, there's the link for me. A lot of people say, oh, hi, that's for kids. You get Valentine's cards or you do the romantic love, but no, this is our chance. This is our chance where you put bolts of love into the world with everything going on out there. I get excited thinking this is the month where you just do it. Now, what I mean by that, and you'll say, well, wait a minute, what does this have to do with healing? It has everything to do with healing. If you read some of the excerpts of people that have experienced healing, where you're of service to others, where you're trying to put good in the world, where you love other people, it comes back to you tenfold. So the suggestions I have to start this off on a light, happy February 1st note is, how do you do that? And our class, and Sally and Margaret are there, and they can attest to that. We've done things like that, where you it can either be very mysterious and incognito and simply leave notes in places. You can leave, they could be hearts, they could just be things, and it's the message that you want to put out into the world, and particularly how you would feel if you received that. And you, at first you say, oh, that's stupid. Well, I have to tell you, it hasn't felt stupid, because when we did it, we had beautiful things happen. A waitress would say, for example, I'll give you a few real life examples, and you'll see how this rolls out. Somebody's waiting on you, and you just say, you know what? I just really, really appreciate that you came to work today and allowed me to have this nice dinner. And you know what? One time I said that to somebody, and they just said, oh my gosh, it was so hard for me to come to work today. You just made my day, you know? And the healing, the connection of two people that don't know each other, that feel that kindness, that goodness, again, that just ricochets right out. Now, if you're not the type to say complimentary things to people, I go back to the note thing. I got a whole pile of them once. We passed them out in class. We had so much fun with it. We put them all over Northville. You know, a few times you can either watch to see people open them, you can put them in mailboxes, but the idea is that you're putting goodness and love and kindness into the world. And you say, well, that sounds, if this isn't your thing, that's fine. But it always bothers me when people say, well, I can't do anything. You know, I'm in a wheelchair, I'm sick. You still have a mouth, you still have things that you can do, or you're giving into the world. And when you see that result, your life all of a sudden has this whole different purpose, because you've taken the effort to do something like that. So be creative with it, make it fun. If you make life fun and you're happy and you're exuding that type of energy out into the world, you will see that your own pain, your own emotion, your own stuck energy, you're tuning into a different frequency. You automatically begin to feel better. All I can say is, if you don't believe me and you think it's crazy talk, try it. Try it before you discount it. And I know I've got a couple people on there that will attest to that. If they speak up, there's my Sally. She can attest to that. We've done that. In fact, Sally, have to give a beautiful story where she did that. We did a thing where we actually gave money away. We collected it, and then we had people give gifts. But she wrote a beautiful note to a young girl that was in a home. And I know that she changed that girl's life forever, because who gets personal love notes? And Sally's a very good writer. She sends us a weekly newsletter that I'm very grateful for, that puts us on a positive note. But it's that kind of thing that nobody ever thinks of. I've met so many people that say, well, I'm retired, I have no purpose, that. Oh my gosh, there's just so much you can do. Just think of it and try it. And it's interesting, because I just was reading something the other day, and they say, oh, but I don't have it to give away. If you have this much, just a little bit, you can give that little bit away, you will get this much back. trust me on that one. And if you don't believe me, I can only say, try it. So that's my little note on that. So now what I'd like you to try to do, I'm going to keep weaving you along to give you something. If the things that don't work for you, just let them blow past you and you go on to the next thing. So I heard something the other day and I liked it, and it's what we do all the time anyway. But a lot of times we tell people, oh yeah, just breathe, just meditate, look for the stillness, do this, do that. And a lot of people don't know how to get started. And even if you're a seasoned meditator, even if you're somebody that knows this stuff very, very, very well, it doesn't matter, because I heard it and I really, really liked it and I made it my own. Whoever I heard it from, I can't give you the name because it was just something that in passing, and I thought, I like this. So I'm going to have you do that. What you do is, as you're waiting for your coffee to be made, or as you're waiting for anything, you only take 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. And this is a new one for my people I've been working with for years, but this is it's good. I like it. So you just quiet yourself, and you can do the hand motion of being over your heart, or you can just sit and shut your eyes. You can do it any way that you want that feels innate and good for you. And you just kind of, when you first just quiet your breath and you close your eyes and you just say, well, nothing's happening. Just quiet your mind, go into the stillness, into the gap. Okay, wherever you're at. So just if your mind's going thought, my to-do list, go. And you just go slide into the gap between all those thoughts and say, what do I need to know now? Then you go to another gap and another gap. And you do that for just 2 to 3 minutes. And you'll, again, be surprised what will come your way. Okay, so when people say they don't have time, they can't sit still, don't make it that big. Go with that simple, what do I need to know now? Okay, so if you take nothing else away than that today, I want you to practice that another time. I don't want us to do it now because with the group, we're very short on time. I want to give you so much because I love all of you. I love life. I love the world. I'm sincere and genuine when I say that. So I'm going to keep giving you things so that you go home with something. So try these things, try that. And now what I'd like to do as a very next thing, I know, Bob, I appreciate that very much that you learned image cycling. We are going to talk about that because I absolutely love it. I think it's a phenomenal skill to learn. I'm going to do that after. What we're going to do is do a brief Qigong session. And I love this. I wanted to do it in the January session. We just ran out of time. So what we're going to do like a 10-15 minute Qigong session where you get into the right frequency, into the right space, or the space where you're connected. Nothing is ever right or wrong, but get you to that space. And then I'm going to teach you the image cycling, and then we'll have time for questions. Okay, so that's kind of the flow of things today. So to do a brief Qigong session, let's get started with that. I have to move my chair so I can stand up and move the screen just a tad up so we can see. Okay, so what you're going to do, you're going to put your feet shoulder width apart. I know you can't see all of me, but that's okay. I will tell you what I'm doing. So I'm standing, feet are shoulder width apart. You're standing straight, but not uncomfortable. The shoulders are sitting, your eyes are over the horizon, and you're just kind of watching your breath, not judging it. If it seems too fast, you may have an opinion about it, or you might feel a certain way. But just kind of centering, and also pay attention to where you're located. Most of us are in our head because we're talking and dialoguing with another. But for this exercise, I want you to relocate where you live into the heart space. Just kind of drop down into that area that's in the heart space. So you're living in the middle somewhere in the torso. Don't worry about the exact connection. And then keep watching the breath. And as you watch it, just kind of release any kind of, we didn't do the shaking thing today, but what you can do is just with your breath, it'll gradually slow down just by taking a deep breath, letting it out. You can blow out twice to get rid of any kind of stress you have. So you go Easy, hold it, and then do a second, puff out, okay? And wait a little bit again. Take a deep breath in. Just so it's comfortable. And when you do the deep breath, I want you to feel as if it's going through into your abdomen so that your abdomen can push out. So it's the feeling. You're not really doing that. Obviously, you don't have lungs there, but just filling up and then holding it. And now the words you can think of when you do this breath exercise is let is the in breath and go is the out breath. So let go. You can do this when you're waiting in the grocery store, when you're agitated. And let go. Let and go. Okay. And now what I want you to do is have your hands face, they're actually comfortable, but face each other like this. So get down. I see my camera's not picking me up for that here. So like this, okay? So you're steady, eyes are over the horizon. And you keep watching the breath. And what you're going to do is picture something you love very much that you're cradling in your arms, okay? So some people say, well, I can't think of anything. Something that makes your heart feel the love frequency. So the frequency of love can be a sunset. It can be just anything that makes you feel awe and wonder and beauty, you know, a gorgeous sunrise, a beautiful tree, a beautiful bird. It can be a human, doesn't have to be though. Just I want you to feel the frequency of love in your arms that you're starting to cradle, that you're holding very close to you and very dear, very comfortable. Don't do it stiffly. Just kind of move your hips, you know, your waist, kind of rock with the hands, okay? Very easy. And as you're feeling that love frequency, now remember in Qigong, the Qi goes where the mind goes. So every thought, every breath, every movement, they're all in sync with one another. So you're holding it like this, and you can stretch it up more like a cradle and turn your head, but your eyes should either be straight ahead or turning with that movement. And as you're feeling this love in your hands and you're holding it and you're rocking it, I want you to now transform. We do a lot of transforming in Qigong, meaning we don't create anything, but we use that love frequency, that frequency of feeling. It's a feeling that you only get when your mind allows you, like we did the lemon thing, when you have a visual of something you genuinely love. So you've got to find what that is, this will roll over into the image cycling too. So start digging deep in your soul what you love. And now as you do this and you're rocking and cradling this, I want you to picture you being born in your hands. So your soul is fresh and pure and nothing has happened to the soul yet. You're holding it and you're looking at yourself. You're saying, how can this be? How can I hold my soul? But your soul kind of resides somewhere in this earth vessel, somewhere in the brain, somewhere in the heart space, sometimes in the aura outside. And you're holding yourself here and you're rocking back and forth and you picture yourself born. And so now you're taking your brain and thinking, what do you want for this beautiful baby that's you, that was just born? What would you say to it? Now that we're older, what kind of life do you have ahead? What do you want for yourself? Maybe you think you've already lived 3/4 of your life. So what do you want to do that you came to earth to do, to feel, to experience? I want you to feel all of that. And you might even feel a disappointment or something in there where you say, no, I didn't do what my soul came here to do, but you're still here. So feel that. Feel it in your arms. And then as you're rocking this back and forth, I want you to just kind of do a weave, where we do a lot of this in Qigong, where we weave very slowly, very slow, because you don't want to disperse any of that energy. And you take that soul baby, pure in its form. Nothing has changed it yet. Nothing has influenced. Nothing has happened to it. And now it's becoming a part of you again in its purest form. And as you look around, this is much easier to do when we're in a live class, but as you look around, whoever you might see on the screen or whoever you don't see on the screen, it doesn't have to be a screen, it can be somebody you know. What would that person look like if you met them the day they were born? It changes everything, doesn't it? Because now when you meet somebody that has some kind of diversity, you think they were a baby at one time. And when you look at that way, your disgust for something they've done or said, or your reaction, your human reaction just goes away. It's all just pure love. You feel this love because they were born into this earth just as pure and as perfect as can be, and still are. A lot of the things that we see are things that have happened to them. So incorporate that pure sense of soul into your body and feel it go into your heart space, up into the throat area, up into the crown chakra here, seated into your gut area, feeling it in your spine, going out through all of your meridians, into the arms, into the legs, into the breath. And every breath you take, you're renewing. Let go. Now, what if we said, we love to do what if in the classes we've done live. What if today is the first day of the rest of your life? Beginning, clean slate. What I would like to do, this is a little bit hard to illustrate, but I have a wall here and I want you to look. Some of the people have been with me for a while, they'll get this right away. But you go and what you do is you take your hands against the wall. If you don't have a wall, pretend that there's one there. And you go against the wall now, and what you'll feel is a pool along the arm underneath here, okay? So you do the stretch out, you feel the pool, and you don't do a bow window, and then you close again. So you breathe in, and you go, let go, and that's letting go of the past, going into the moment, first day of the rest of your life. And now take your third eye in your eyes and just look and feel that joy come up, because it's your pure soul, your higher self. Again, don't get caught up in my words, just feel that energy. What does it want? What does it desire? And you feel that come into your space. It's a beautiful feeling because you're feeling you in its purest form. And as you pull, sometimes you feel sadness, you're pulling on the grief meridian there. And if you do, it's okay. Look at it, appreciate it. It's feedback from your body, but it doesn't mean anything. Your body simply reflects what the soul body is experiencing. And at that moment in time now, first day of the rest of your life. Okay, and you feel that. I want you to just feel that feeling. And now what we're going to do is come back, put your hands together as a circuit, and just feel the namaste. I honor my soul as I honor every soul out there. And that automatically connects you. It connects you to every other human being. And you feel them and you love them because they're life. So feel that beautiful sensation, that oneness. There's no loneliness in that. There's no disconnection. Opinions and words and things of that sort don't matter anymore. So you feel that. And now that you've done the Qigong version, I know it seems very simple what you did, but it was simply your intention, your request that today is your first day of the rest of your life, you in its pure form, seeking out what you want. So now I'm going to guide you over into the image cycling so that it's real and it's pure and driven from a space that's located in a different area than just your brain. If you don't have a piece of paper, that's okay. I want you to do this over the next month. Because the first part of the image cycling that I'm going to teach you is precisely the background on it, the effectiveness of it, and then the process. And so there's a part 1 today. Part 2 will take you to the actual how to do some of the cycling. So now you say, okay, so what is all this? So we touched on this a little bit last time. It's been one of the most powerful techniques I've ever learned. I still do it. I love it. I appreciate it. It's a little bit of a mystery as to why it works so well. But the more I read and the more I see how the brain works and how you tune this in or tune this out, it makes sense to me that it would work. It overlaps into other modalities. So as the very, very first step, I want you to know that William Bankston, I touched on this last time, but I want to make sure that everybody kind of knows who he is. You know, he was a researcher at a university, and I believe Bob took his whole class. You probably know more about it than I do, but you're going to hear it a little different way because I really, really think it's good stuff. He didn't want to create image cycling. He wanted to cure cancer in mice. And so what he did is he said, oh gosh, we have to get the monkey brain out because we try to analyze, we try to control, we don't allow flow, we don't allow the real frequency that we need to receive as human antennas, which we showed you last time, to flow through us to go into a healing modality for another life. And so he said we have to get it out of the way. So he came up with this idea that he was going to do image cycling. And then when he did the image cycling, he found that the things that you did with image cycling became true. Okay, now we had them definitely happen in our group. So what he also discovered is when you do this technique, and I want you to try this with your pets at home, this is where you get good feedback. Here's my hands, okay? So when you do the image cycling, you'll find that flow goes from the right into the left. I don't know why, he doesn't know why, but your pets know. If there's a pet that's ill in your home, if there's an animal that needs something, and you put both of your hands out like this, I've had people try this, so I know this to be true now, and it isn't a dogma thing. Oh, you know, she doesn't know. Try it. That's all I could say. Go out and test it. You put your hands out, they'll come to your left hand. Every time, because they can feel the subtle energy. So with that being said, I'm very intrigued as to that whole process all by itself. But then I thought, well, let me try this image cycling thing. And it is difficult to learn, difficult to master, but it's well worth the journey to get there. Now, I'm sure you're going to hear it a little bit differently than you were taught, but I'm going to tell you the way that I've learned it and where the image cycling is what the purity of it is. I wasn't trying to charge cotton. Only Bob will know what I'm talking about there, and Sally and Margaret. You know, he actually said you could charge the cotton and then the cotton has the healing energy. And now that's just phenomenal. I was going to play around with that, but then I felt like you did that I didn't get it good enough. And then I said, oh, I'm not going to keep pursuing that. I'm just going to stick to perfecting the image cycling. Okay. So let's start with how you do this. And this is the key piece. So you have to come up with 10 things, and we just did the Qigong move to get you into the right frequency. 10 things that you want to have. A lot of people say, well, I don't have 10 things I want. No, you do, if you really, really think. So let me show you what that looks like. And you're going to get it as we go through it. So I'm going to give you examples that I'm sure you don't want, but I do that on purpose. And then I'll give you examples that actually happened to myself and how you perfect that. Okay, so you start by saying, I want to have a red Corvette. Okay. No, but most of you probably don't want to have a red Corvette, but the person who says they want a red Corvette, the trick with the image cycling is you don't stop there. You don't say, okay, I want a red Corvette and I want this person in it. And, you know, this is what I want, because that's where I think the mistake occurs if it's not working for you. What you have to do is keep going. So step one, you say you want the red Corvette, but wait a minute. Why do you want the red Corvette? Because you want people to admire you. You want people to like you. You want to feel the speed of the wind in your hair. You want what? You see how you have to keep going. I use that as an example on purpose because what you might actually be seeking is some kind of recognition, some kind of acknowledgement that you think that you want, that's a faulty kind of thing that's going to lead to what? Maybe increased happiness. So the process of going from what you think you want to keep chasing it is difficult. And that's what your assignment will be for the next month, because that list has to be good, but we're still going to work on this for another 10 or 15 minutes. So first person, let's say I say, okay, I would like to lose weight. Let's say something more simple. Well, why do I want to lose weight? So that I'm more beautiful, that I feel stronger, that I feel healthier, that I feel what? You have to keep going. Does everybody follow why this gets difficult? Okay, so let's come up with another example. Let's say somebody says, I want this job. Okay, I want this particular job over here. I hope I get it. So I want this job. Why? This job will give me the money I need. The money will be for my family, and my family will love me more. I want my family to love me more. You see how you get from one, you have to keep going until it truly dead ends. Okay. Now, what you might find out when you do these 10 things is that you realize that you don't really want it. And the example that Bill used, he said, oh, I put that I want a big screen TV. I'm sure he gave that in the example as in the class. And then he said, well, why do I want a big screen TV? Well, I don't really want a big screen TV, do I? Other people think I want a big screen TV. And so again, that has to come off the list. So you have to find 10 things, but you have to keep taking it to all the way to the end point. So let's say I say, I'll give you an example where we had a profound healing actually with, she's probably going to hear it, so sorry, won't mention any names, but she had an ankle issue and she said she wanted it to heal. Well, why did she want it to heal? She wanted it to heal because she loved the game of tennis that she always played. So her endpoint was to play tennis again. It wasn't really about and being pain-free, but I mean, you have to keep going to the point that you just smile and say, oh yeah, that's really what I want. So that's tricky part number one. And I'm gonna have time for questions so we can clarify that. Once you have the end point, okay, the very end point of, yeah, I just really want people to love me more. Whatever, let's say it's something kind of esoteric like that. You have to see, are they even connected? Or is it just an illusion that you have? Okay, where you think that if you do this, you're going to get, well, what kind of love are you really going to get if you have a nice shiny Corvette and you get this date? And is that really the kind of girl you really want to love you? You see, so it's a huge analytical process. And what I found when I made my list of 10 things, I give you an example where I realized something about myself. You learn a lot about you because you think you want certain things, but then you realize that you don't. Okay. So that's step one, is that you start to really find out what's important to you. So I had something on there where I said, oh, that I find office space to start a practice again. This was probably 4 or 5 years ago. I want to practice again in my own way. And I was actually looking at the time, but I couldn't find anything. And so I did step 2, which we're going to get to next, where I had it on the list. And step 2, I had to visualize exactly what it would look like, what the sign would look like, what the whole visual was. And every time I did that, I got anxiety feeling, kind of a tightness in my chest. And I thought, well, that's interesting. Endpoint has to be peace, happiness, feels good. This is right. I thought, geez, that has to come off the list. That must not be something I really want. I think I want it. I thought I wanted it, but I didn't really want it once I did the whole trail. Okay. So that's the difficult of getting those 10 things done. Once you think you've got your 10 things, and this takes quite a while, that's why we won't do this together. You do this at home, bring your list to the class next month, and then I'll show you how to do the actual cycling, where honestly, I've had so many things come true on that list, it's ridiculous. It's another method of manifesting. And when you look at I just took a class with Bob Dooley, who says thoughts are things, and he's really a delightful man. He has another method of, saying the same thing as the secret and all these different things. And what it really comes down to is that you don't have any doubt. That's why these things happen. Why image cycling works is you don't have time for you to come in and say, well, that's not possible. So another example is if I say, you know what, I really want to go to the beach today. I really want to go I really want to get over there. I want to cross the street over there. You don't know the how. You don't know how your body's going to get there. It just kind of happens. So the how of what it is that you want is completely irrelevant. So you start saying, oh, that's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. That's not possible. Right away, you have to take that piece out. Image cycling teaches you how that doesn't exist. So let's go over it again, and we'll have some time for questions on this. Step one, come up with the thing that you think you want. Keep taking it. And if you have 2 or 3 things that all lead to the same thing, it's only one item. Okay. So if you've got, let's say, I want more money. Well, why do you want more money? What are you going to do with the money? Where will this money ultimately take you? What do you want with that? You want a house? You want a car? Nicer clothes? Well, why? What about that do you want? So you keep going to the point where that may not even be true. You think that's what you want, but what you really want is something entirely different. And again, it's confusing because if you have, let's say, 2 things you want, they may lead to the same thing. I want to lose some weight. I want to be able to fit in my clothes. Those are the same thing. They both take you to, I want to be stronger, healthier. You see what I'm saying? So that counts as one. Then once you finally have your 10 things, this is a tricky part too. You have to think of it embellished to the 10th degree, meaning, so let's say you said, no, I really do want that Corvette, and I want it because whatever you ended up doing. You have to have the outfit that you're wearing. You have to have the temperature of the day. You tap into all those senses. Whether it's a windy day, whether the top's down, whether it's up, you have to come up with every single detail there is. There's a really famous speaker. I'm blanking on her name. I should have written it down. If you guys think of it, speak up in question time. Nichols is her name. Forgot her first name. Phenomenal woman. You have to feel that image completely where you're experiencing it almost. So you feel yourself sitting in that red car, wind blowing, sunny skies, to the point where you're feeling it so intensely with all your 5 senses that it's almost as if it's happening. And you know that it's right and belongs on that list because you feel this good feeling, this really, really good feeling as you're visualizing it. If you don't get to that point, probably shouldn't be on the list, has to be taken off again. Okay. So this is the process that you have to go through. It takes me quite a while to put a list together, but once you have it, it's so worth it because I'll show you how you do the actual image cycling next month. And you'll see that anytime you're feeling down, anytime you're feeling stressed, your brain gets hooked on this image cycling to the point that you actually seek it out. The actual process feels that good. And I believe the reason that it works and contributes to healing and all kinds of crazy things is because it gets the the pattern of our constant jabbering all day that may be good, that may not be good, that may be negative, that may be destructive in some way, it just stops that. So you feel the soothing massage almost to your brain once you get this list together, okay? So what I hope you guys do is get those things, those 10 things together. And I want to hear questions from you now, because this is difficult to learn. He teaches it in almost 6 hours, even a whole weekend, as Bob said. I think it takes that long because there's multiple examples that are needed. You have to see where you get snagged up, and endpoint always has to be something where you just kind of get that qigong feeling again. It's not a happy feeling, but it's like, yeah. Oh, that would feel so nice if I could go and run again and just feel that exhilarating feeling in my body, and I'm light and airy and the wind's blowing through. You see what I'm saying? You feel it, and you feel it, and it feels so good. That's how your higher self and your soul tells you, this is it. And because we did this little mini qigong session just now, where you're cradling yourself and you're seeing yourself pure and whole before all these different things happen to you in life, you're reconnecting with your soul purpose, your higher self, what you really want, why you're here, what you still need to complete in the days remaining for yourself, regardless of how many. None of us know how many days we have, but make each day count, every single day count. So questions, I want to hear from you. Do you guys get it? If you do get it, there's more stuff we can do, but I want to make sure that everybody understands how to come up with that 10-piece list. Okay, 10-item list, that there's no confusion. Oh, I don't understand. What he even had some people suggest that they do is they color it in, embellish it, get an image. You have to get an image that's very, very clear, very complete, very whole of each item. Okay, so let's open up a little bit of discussion about this. Tell me, Bob, I'd love to hear from you. Where did you get snagged up in the process?
Anything that involves feelings. Anything that involves feelings.
Yeah. But expand on that a little bit. So you don't want to look at things that make you feel a certain way. You just kind of want to put it over there. Is that kind of what you're saying? And so you don't want to go there? Is that what you're saying? Or help me with this a little bit.
At a very young age, I learned feelings hurt, and Mr. Spock became my role model.
Okay.
Mr. Spock has no feelings.
Yeah.
So I spent most of my life living that way.
Okay.
It's kind of productive for doing this kind of work.
How about if you viewed feelings as information to you? If you just became the observer. So let me clarify. Let's say when you did that movement, you felt sadness. You go, oh, I'm not going to do that. Don't want to go there because I don't like feeling sad. But what if you said, uh-oh, wait a minute, that soul that I held in my hands that came in its pure form, that hasn't been hurt yet, doesn't even know what hurt is, that's your observer, or the person you dialogue with, in your head idea. And then somebody comes in and says, nah, you don't want to do that. That's too hard. You've got this odd dialogue going. So the observer, you're looking at yourself and you're saying, oh, I don't want to go anywhere where I hurt. What if you just said, this is information for me? Why is it hurting me? No, I don't want you to hurt either, but become the observer of whatever it is you're feeling. Do you think you could do that?
Yeah, I can try. I think so.
Give that a try, because that wouldn't be a real big thing, but you might see a really, really big shift occur for yourself because you won't be attached to it. Well, what so many people say when they're meditating or when they're going into the gap, they're the observer. And you'll also, with compassion, what would you say to this baby that was born that's been hurt? What would you say to that person if you were watching the play of your life?
Actually, I quoted Esther Hicks from The Secret and said, welcome to Earth.
Yep. So think, what would you tell the baby that's now an older person, that's still pure, still there, still that same baby, but had all these different things happen to them, okay? What would you say if you were watching him in a play? Most people will feel tremendous compassion for yourself. Oh my gosh, they went through a whole lifetime of fear and hurt, and they're so kind, and they're so, oh, I just want to give them a big hug. Do you see? Compassion for yourself. If you start there, self-love, compassion, and you just detach though and say, it's okay if I hurt. I just don't want it to stick. I want to be the sieve and just let it go. I can transform it. I can transform anything that comes and hurts and makes me ache and makes me suffer. I can release it, transform it with compassion and love coming from your higher self. You see, try it gently with yourself, This isn't a should or a have to for you at all, but a suggestion. I see that when people put things into Pandora's box, I call it, and they bottle it up, what it does is you're not really feeling better. You're not experiencing life in its full capacity, and things get stuck. And sometimes it creates more suffering because you're not allowing all the goodness to come in either. I have another exercise for you that I know if you'll allow me, because I'm sure this is very, very typical and common. You take someday when there's the sun is shining, could just be a fire too. It's the fire element in Qigong. Okay. So a little flicker of flame or a bright sun, any fire element. You take the feeling you have. Energy can't be created or destroyed, but it can be transformed. Anything you're feeling, you just say, I don't want to feel this tight, bottled up blah. I love myself. I feel compassion. And you take that and you just give it to the fire to be transformed back into love and compassion towards the person you're observing. You see, that's the technique or the process. It's not voodoo. It's not woo-woo. It's something you will feel. You're working with subtle energy here that could completely transform your life. Write yourself a note. We were talking about notes at the beginning. You said, "Oh, I couldn't do that." You, the observer, but you, the observer, telling yourself, what would you write to yourself, to that new baby that was born? That's you, that's now older, that's been through so much. What would you tell them? Set that note for you. Read it tomorrow on your kitchen table. That kind of process is the beginning, because once you can do it for yourself, you can do it for others. Is that at all connect with you? Little bit?
Yeah. Something to do. See what
Okay.
happens. Thank you.
Write to me if you'd like. Okay. More questions. Everybody's got this down pat? All 10 things, really? It's hard. It's hard to learn. Really, everybody thinks they're good, that they can come up with a list and they understand how that's going to keep going. Any of my, Sally or Margaret, if you're there, you've done this before. Where did you get snagged up? What advice would you give if you don't mind speaking for a minute? Because it's one of those things that you can't teach. It's not a book learning. It's sort of a thing you sort of learn. They've done it. So I kind of wonder, do you have anything to add at all? Yeah.
I never got very far with it.
Yeah. No, I understand. And I know that it gets easy to get snagged up in it. So where did the snag occur? In coming up with the 10 things, or the trail? Or give me an example. Maybe we can walk through it if you can. If you can't think of one, then I'm going to try to give maybe another example. But I do think it's worth pursuing or learning. But thank you for that. Thank you for being honest about that and telling me that. Anybody else that's online that would have a question about it? Does it make sense, at least to you, as to how you would go about doing this, and that you would then get to where you put all of your 5 senses into the actual image? You have to have 10 images before we can actually talk about cycling. And the images should be a feel good, okay? Where you just say, yes, this is good. And then you go to the next one and the next one and the next one. Okay. Does anybody have one that they have on their list that they wouldn't mind sharing? Because I want to kind of see if you're on the right track. It doesn't have to be anything super personal. It could just be, I want a new career, what, something, so that we can make sure that we understand how we embellish it. And then,
So just to, I'm clear on this, you start with 10 items. And do you end up with 10 items?
yes, except that, as I explained, they often come off the list. So if you can think of just even one that isn't super personal or whatever, let's say it's, I would like, I mean, I worked with somebody recently on this. They said, I would like a house in the Caribbean. I would like to own one. Okay. I said, oh, okay. Or I think it was a house on a lake. It was a simple request. And they said, and I want that because I want to have a place where I can go and relax. And that would make me very happy, where I'm away from everybody. And so then they started imagining the house and what it looks like. So is it a big house, a small house? No, a big house would be way too much work. No, I want a small cabin, one that's kind of simple and, not too much money. So what you would do is then draw the actual cabin, and you would picture you there, what you're wearing, who's with you, what season it is, what you're doing there. Is there a boat? Is it on a lake? How big is the lake? How many people are nearby? You get as much detail for each image as you possibly can. I mean, beyond just the five senses. It really becomes a picture with lots of detail in it. Okay, so if it had been, let's say he would have initially maybe started out with step one, I want a really, really big house on a lake, big and grand. And then the feeling again that comes up says, oh, but no, that'd be too much work. And oh, it'd be really scary if, it broke, or no. So you keep revising it. So yes, you want 10 things on your list, but you've got to know yourself. And the reason I like this exercise, you really learn a lot about yourself when you do this. A tremendous amount. You start saying, no, I don't really want that. What I really want is a small house on the lake, because it would make my life more peaceful. It would. And so you keep going. And even if you get stuck, I had a couple of people say, well, I can't get past 3 things. You start to say, well, moms sometimes have this a lot. They forgot what they even want in life. They say all they do is take care of this person and that person. And to realize that, to sit down and say, well, what do I really want? And so some people will say something like, oh, I just want peace. Well, what does peace look like for you? Okay, so you kind of have to keep going. What does peace mean to you? What does it look like? You sitting at the kitchen table by yourself? You're by yourself, you're with people. Are you at night that you're doing this, or is your whole day really quiet? You have to come up with all the detail to bring this together. You see what I'm saying? So it's not that simple. So you would not have a list with peace. One, you can't draw that, just that word. You would draw, what does peace look like for you? And people get snagged up with it, me included. It took me quite a while to really learn this well, but I think it's worth it. I think it's worth the journey, or I wouldn't have done all this or brought it up so soon to everybody. What does peace look like for you? I'm sitting at a table outside with a candle going, and no one's bothering me, and my head is calm, and I have no pain, and I just feel really good. Why do I feel really good? Because my head is empty, because I don't have any problem. You have to keep going, you see? You can't stop at just the word. So lemon, that's a word. You have to feel what you're looking for. Feel it in its entirety. And for somebody that says they don't want to feel anything that's hurtful, you've got to come up with a list where things that don't hurt, and they don't have to be grand and elaborate. They can just be simple. What makes you smile? What makes you happy? Some people put down, I had on one of them, I want to be able to feel that feeling when I watch the sunset every night. before I go to bed. Well, what does that look like? What am I doing in my house on a day there is no sunset so that I get that same feeling to happen? What does that look like? You see why this is a good exercise? You learn so much about what your soul, your body, the observer, really desires. What is your true desire? So many of us, when people say, oh, you want to be enlightened, you want to be awakened, we do all this seeking and all this reading, but you don't really even know what you want unless you get to know who you are. You who were birthed uniquely into this earth, into this world. Get to know what you want. Okay. I love it if all of you guys tried the little love bolts that you put out into the world, because it just makes you smile and you just can't even believe that the world just completely changed. Like if you, for example, you're having an argument with somebody on the phone and you're so agitated, we all have the same life here. I live in the world too. And they're yelling at me or saying they can't fix it. And you just say, you know what? Okay, regroup, observer. What do you tell Annette who's getting way too worked up? I just say, you know what? I really appreciate you trying to help me. Let's get through this together somehow. You see how the whole energy just shifts? Everything just goes away. I have to remind myself of that type of thing. Everybody gets that way. We have all these aggravations in the world. And then at some point, you almost, how do I want to put it? You don't laugh about it because a lot of things aren't funny. For example, we recently had I don't know whoever's going to listen to this, but we had this horrific leak in our in a rental property. We had this went on for months, 4 months, and finally, I just said, you know what? I can't do this by myself. I'm going to have to get the community to help me. I need help with this. And once you know it, somebody shows up. They were my helper. They wrote the letter. They put this together. It's all resolved now, but it's because I put the request out. Last night, you're going to laugh at me, but I'm giving you real life examples of here where when you're in that meditative state, in the quiet, in the reflective time, you can get things changed. I wake up, phone doesn't work, completely dead. Don't know what to do. All right, can't freak out, can't fix it, don't know what to do. Go into that quiet space. They say all answers are within you, and boy, they are. I just quieted myself. I said, okay, it'll come to me. What do I need to know? That 3-minute thing I taught you. I got the idea. Go online, check a YouTube. It'll show you how to do it. See, my brain didn't tell me that though, at least not right away. So it's that kind of a thing that I just want to share because it makes life a little bit easier.
I'm working on letting go of emotions. I'm kind of stuck in the past. 2012, I was February 21st of 2012, I was in a car accident
Okay.
that get the ball rolling to diagnose me with cancer. I'm having trouble letting go of all that to move forward.
Is the cancer resolved or do you still
Yeah.
have it?
No, it's resolved.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot to go through. What part are you still hanging on to? The fear that it's going to come back or the trauma of it occurring? Tell me a little bit more where you're stuck at.
All of the above. I remember the day of the car accident. I remember the phone call saying that I had cancer. As soon as everybody said, everybody found out that I had cancer, all my friends and family disappeared because they didn't know what to help me with or what to even say.
Getting that hurt. And that keeps replaying in your mind is what you're
Yes.
saying. Like the experience is happening over and over and over again. That's not uncommon. So first, compassion to yourself. The way that I believe you can let things go the best is, I use this a lot with people, but it sounds simple, not as simple when you're doing it. So imagine that you're in a play. truly. I said this earlier in the session, but I want to expand on that a little bit. You're in a play and you watched all the things that happened to you happen. I'm sure it makes you sad. It would make me sad if I were watching me, boy, she's been through a lot. Wow. You know, and you feel this compassion for her, and you know you were born pure with nothing that happened to you. So can you say, since you not just say let go, that's shoving things under the rug, saying, can I say that this happened, but I survived and I'm strong, and all the experiences that happened to you on earth eventually lead to your growth and realization? And where would you go? What would you, now put yourself in it, what would you say to that person so that the rest of her life shifts? What would you say? Not me, not anybody else on the show. What would you say to this individual?
I would say let go of the anger. It was out of
And
your
how would
control.
that look? How would that look if she lets go of the anger? What's a small step that could be taken?
Honestly, I don't know.
What could you do for yourself that would make you happy? If you loved yourself like you loved the baby that was born, that love feeling, what would you do for somebody you really, really love, which is you? What would you want for them, which is you? More
To-
what in your life?
Happiness.
And what
Feel
does
the-
happiness look like? What makes you happy? When you do this list, what makes you happy? What kinds of things came up?
Honestly, I'm trying to figure that out. What makes
Okay.
me happy? Or when you said, what do you want? The first thing that came to my mind was, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I just draw a blank. It's overwhelming to even think about myself.
Yep. Yep. What you're telling me is that you're stuck. You're feeling
am.
a stuck feeling. Okay. You're not alone in this. Many, many, many humans go there. But what I would suggest that the technique that I would try with you, and a one-on-one type thing, but you can do this tonight. Just light a candle like we talked, because I don't want to confuse too many different things. We can work on some of the, I think I'm gonna do one more thing. We still have time. But when the session is over, I want you to think of transforming all that's stuck and bottled up in you and push it into the light, and then feel light, love coming through you. Okay, you may feel emotion, you may cry, but that's a release. That's a good thing. Okay.
Okay.
Now I'm going to try one more thing with you, and I'm going to touch on this because it's so effective in this. It might be a little quick, but we'll take at least 5 minutes to do that. Has anybody heard of the tapping techniques where you tap on certain parts of the body and you reprogram yourself?
Yes, and I've not been able to actually accomplish it.
Well, let's try it with you. So normally we have to go through all the different points and study it and do it correctly. That's how the classes are taught. But I'd like to see you release. So I'm just going to have you copy me because I want to see. So if your ache feeling, however you want to define it, is a 10 right now or not, you tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad does it feel right now?
About a 10.
I'm getting that feeling. That's why I almost said it for you. I feel like it is at a 10 level. Okay. So what you're going to do is say, when would you like not to feel this way? The
Now.
answer, right now. Right.
Right now.
That's actually a technique right now. So your intention now is telling me, I want to get rid of this right now. Correct? I've
Yeah.
heard this correctly. Okay. So now what we're going to do is you don't do anything, but you're going to tap as you talk with me. Okay. And you guys will get the idea by watching this. So you take your 2 fingers like this and you start by tapping here in between the brows. You could use both hands like this too. Okay. And you're going to repeat after me, and we'll talk about this more as we go through. So keep following what I'm doing. So you start at the eyebrows, side of the eyebrows, and down to the face. And you tap enough that it's like a little like boom, no, not too light, it doesn't hurt, but it's a boom. Okay. A little bit here, here, here. Okay. Underneath, right here, underneath, and then like this. Okay. So now we're going to do the words that you do. I accept myself and love myself, even though I am stuck. I am a beautiful creation of God. It's okay that I feel this. That doesn't make me bad. Repeat after me. It's okay. I love myself as is.
Love
That's the
myself.
concept.
Even though I'm stuck.
Yep. And keep tapping. Watch where I'm tapping. Even though I'm stuck, I love and accept myself the way I am.
Accept myself.
I'm a beautiful creation. I am life.
I'm beautiful creation. I am life.
Yes. And I can fix this just
I
by
can fix this.
loving myself and letting go. Okay.
Just by loving myself and letting go.
I love myself.
I love myself.
I love myself. I am life. I am life.
I am life.
I don't need to change anything.
I don't need to change
I
anything.
just need to be me, the
I
real me.
To be the real me.
Yeah, the real me. I want to meet that person and know who I am.
I want to meet that person and know who I am.
I would like to get to know them, one that's not hurting,
I would like to get to know them. That's not hurting
and is
Not
whole and complete.
and is whole and complete.
Okay. Okay, now take a deep breath. Did that ick feeling shift at all for you?
Better. It's about half. It was.
Good,
Feel
good,
released.
good. Keep doing that. Keep doing that at home and start where you're at. Acceptance of who you are with compassion that you are where you are and it's okay. And you love yourself as you are, which that's hard when you're feeling frustrated and stuck and thinking of the past and then say, you know what, I'm going to really take a small baby step and I'm going to focus on loving myself, doing something for myself for 1 minute every single day. Okay. 1 minute, start with just 1 minute. It might
I'm
be
laughing because that's so hard.
make
Got it.
yourself a nice hot cup of tea with love, make it for yourself, nurture yourself again, and be mindful as you're drinking that, being in the moment. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Try
Thank
that. Now, initially, I'm going to warn you, my experience with working with people, so I don't want you to be frustrated. When you first do it, even if I'm asking you to just do it 1 minute, there's resistance. There's resistance because you say, but wait, I'm comfortable being tight. And there's others, I'm comfortable like this. Whoa, I'm going out of my comfort zone. But do you want to continue the suffering, the dis-ease? No, you want to change right now and say, okay, I can do this. I can do this for 1 minute. I can do this. Set a timer if you have to. And once you do 1 minute, you can do 2 and then 3. Okay. Don't just skip it. Love yourself and care enough about yourself to say, I'm going to do it 1 minute every day. And start with just saying, what does my soul, that baby that I held, that was me before all this happened, want in life? What did she want when she was born? And what does she need to know now? And then just quiet your mind, no thinking. Go into the space and the gap. All right. Again, a couple minutes. That's where you start. You start small. No one.
How do you know when to advance to the next minute? Not that I'm saying, because I've tried this for years and I've been stuck because I don't do the acceptance.
Okay, do 1 minute and then say, okay, I have compassion towards myself. I love and accept myself why can't I move out of that? Don't get frustrated. Again, the part of the healing holistically is that your mind, your body, and your soul all have to come together. Okay. So you
Okay.
can't just say, oh, I'm so mad at my body that it won't do this. Okay. That's disconnect. You'd lovingly say, this is who I am. And the way I have embraced shadow, my shadow side, I'll call it your shadow side, that you say you're stuck. People that have shadow sides also will see that your shadow is also your gift. Do that yin yang thing where you say, okay, I'm remaining stuck in this situation and I'm beating myself up for it, but it might be because I'm afraid that it's going to happen again. Say, what would I, take it one step farther, why you might feel stuck, lovingly, compassionately have a dialogue with yourself. Okay. Does that
Okay.
make sense? But not
Yeah.
in a judgmental way. Not, well, the dialogue that we have that goes on in our heads is, well, you're stupid that you can't do this. Oh, you're just done. We beat ourselves up. We say,
I do.
what is wrong with you that you can't do this? That nothing ever gets accomplished with that. Nothing. You say, I am who I am, and I'm fine and perfect the way I am because I'm a creation. I was made this way. My shadow side is also my gift. And you try to see that dance. Get rid of the judgment. It serves nothing. It serves nothing for anybody in the world. Let your light shine. I know there's a beautiful light inside of you and it can't come out because it's in a box. You want to let it come out. So visualize what that would look like. Daydream about it. Shut your eyes at night. Say, if I wasn't stuck in the past, what would that look like? And until you get that little smile on your face and say, oh, I would be dancing. I would be teaching. I would be just hanging out, watching a sunset. You see, those thoughts will come to you and you know that it's what your soul actually desires when you feel a little peace wash over you. That's how you know. Not when you say, oh, well, oh yeah, I was supposed to go to college, but I didn't. And that dialogue where you're beating yourself up again. Well, maybe you didn't need to go to college. Maybe I know so many people that went to college. You know what I mean?
Right.
Don't set out all these societal rules for yourself.
Right.
Just you're born. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. How do you want to live it? And if you don't know, just start by daydreaming. Daydreaming with compassion towards yourself. Do any of these make a little bit of sense for you?
They do, and it's helpful. It's giving me a couple of ideas towards my 10.
Okay. And you feel free to write. We can talk. We can expand on this more. Nothing I would love to see you. I would love to see your light better.
Okay. Thank you.
I would love that. Okay. Anybody else? Any comments? The tapping is effective, except that we always have to start from where you are. And that's hard for people. So you have to love and accept yourself as you are. And it isn't that bad. We just have all these judgments from other people. I used to have a joke with somebody, said, who are these other people? Tell me who they are. And then they say, well, yeah, come to think of it, I don't know. I can't name them. And obviously we're our harshest judge. We put all this judgment on ourselves. So stop doing that. You can't give to others or be productive in the world or let your light shine if you don't start with just compassion for yourself. And I'm glad we did this exercise. We've done very much longer sessions where you're really looking at what your soul is desiring, but you get the idea. Picture yourself just born. And maybe you've been through a lot, but that's also made you strong. That's also given you that experience. And again, emotions are not bad or good. They just are. Become the observer. Okay, let them go. Look at them, but say, okay, I want more of this in my life. So I need to empty the vessel, the earth vessel. just play around with them and trust. I keep saying this, that you know what is best for you. And some people that are stuck don't like to hear that because they say, but I don't. Start to find that reservoir in you that will know, and it'll come when you meditate. That means going into that space between the gap. That's meditating, and lengthening that is great. If you can get to where you don't have, where you have a big gap, well, you just don't even feel the edges of your body or anything. And I did want to touch on that at some point. Meditating, people think it's just sitting like this and thinking pretty thoughts and visualizations. No, it's going into that space in the gap when you connect with all of the cosmos. I mean, try it just for that minute every day. What do I need to know today? And then just be still for a few minutes. Well, thank you, all of you, for giving me your time. And anybody that wants to connect or talk to me, I am available. I really am. I love seeing people. I want to see everybody's light shine, meaning you be the best that you can be in this life on earth. I love seeing that. That's my reward.